Discuss this now live with Michael Scheuer, former CIA head of counter-terrorism bin Laden unit. Michael, thanks for speaking with us. Do you think the resignation of Donald Trump's senior counter-terrorism official reflects a growing division within the U.S. government over the war in Iran, and can we expect more resignations?
I would be surprised if there are more than one or two more. Most anybody who has worked in the intelligence service on terrorism or on the Middle East knows full well that what Mr. Flynn said was exactly correct. We had no interests in going in there. In fact, we claimed that we had destroyed their nuclear capability. So that obviously either was wrong or a lie. And the idea that anyone cannot believe how closely America is dominated by the Israeli government, Jewish American organizations and their money, and generally the power of saying something's anti-Semitic automatically becomes true. So Mr. Flint, to me at least, and I don't know him, was exactly on the mark.
So Joe Kent, in his statement, wrote that he supported Trump's foreign policies during his first term when he, quote, decisively applied military power without getting us, meaning the United States, drawn into never-ending wars. So what has changed now? I mean, does this mean that the Iran war is not going to end anytime soon in the eyes of U.S. officials?
Well, we went to Afghanistan and tried to defeat the Mujahideen after the Soviets lost to them, and we tried to defeat terrorism and bin Laden by killing them one person at a time. It obviously didn't work. The Iranians are intelligent, very well-educated people, and they're not going to have a government shut down because one or two or three of them get killed, or 10 of them. It's a daydream. Will it last forever? I suppose they'll bleed us out at some point, but there's just not just focusing on what we're talking about with this gentleman who resigned a job he probably loved. What he said was true, and there's no way around it. And for him to be now nailed by so many Jewish American correspondents on the regular media and in the independent media just shows how deeply the corruption at the hands of Israel has occurred in the United States. They're afraid of the Israelis.
He also writes the war in Syria, which is where his wife was killed, was also manufactured by Israel. Is there any truth to that claim?
Oh, I think so. I think clearly the Israelis either dragged us or we agreed to be dragged into getting rid of Assad. And, we were campaigning against Assad politically and probably covertly for years before he got the boot finally. The blatant reason for the Syrian war and for the Iranian war is a thing called Greater Israel. It's never going to stop. There's never going to be enough dead Arabs or dead Muslims. And that's the way it is. And the president, for whatever reason, has signed on fully to that. And I think it's a disaster for America. We're already, for example, the only 500 plus members of Congress taking money from the Israelis. Now, what do you think that yields? That yields the only issue on which Democrats and Republicans agree, that Israel is always right and we can never say no to Israel.
The Iranian foreign minister says Donald Trump has indeed shifted from America first to Israel first. Why would the U.S. president agree to such a political shift? Because America first was the cornerstone of his campaign in his first and his second term.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. Maybe he thinks Americans are stupid. But we've been owned for the Israelis by a long time. They sunk one of our intelligence ships, remember, in the early 70s or sometime in the 70s. And that attack was approved by Lyndon Johnson, who was president at the time, and he knew that that Americans would get killed in the attack. This is not a new development. Now, since Truman took campaign money from the Israelis in 1948 for his reelection campaign, we have been tied, shackled to them, if you will, for reasons that are inexplicable, I think, to most Americans. But that's the way life is here in America at the time.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you, Michael Scheuer, former CIA head of counterterrorism bin Laden unit.